Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the Fish Report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. Hanging at the Fish Report. You got Craig and TK and Heather D. Tune in at the Fish Report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis back in our sound room. Heavy D's got the week off, but TK's back there running the show. And, of course, out in Studio R, it's Covey and Kearns. Always excited to talk to them. Ken, good morning. You know, and on Fish Report Live, we go through this basketball season, and sometimes it gets a little long, I got to admit. But this year, I know you and I and the guys in the sound room, we're all kind of savoring it this year, and that's because we all got seniors playing for the home team, don't we?
Yes, we do, Craig. And, you know, it makes for a special year when you got seniors out there, especially when it's your youngest, like TK and I especially. So, you know, we're trying to savor every moment, just like yourself and Heavy D. And it's been a fun season. And, you know, it's just great watching the kids grow together and learn a lot of things about life lessons in general when it comes to wins and losses and all that other fun stuff. So, been a lot of fun this year, Craig, and looking forward to the second half of the season.
Well, one guy that's watched a lot of this season, seen all the teams out there, is our guest tonight.
Yes, it is, Craig, and that's Bryant Billing, the director of the Sidney Daily News sports page. Really looking forward to talking to Bryant. Got some fun questions for him that I'm sure our viewers are going to want to listen to this morning. And, you know, he's been at it now with the Sidney Daily News. I think he's in, his second year? Yeah. And doing a great job, and always look forward to reading his articles and even the ones that get posted online and throughout the newspapers. So really looking forward to talking to Bryant here in just a few minutes.
Well, I know you and I and the guys, we were all at Anna last night watching the Russia Raiders take on those Anna Rockets, and, of course, Bryant Billing was at that game, covering that game. And, you know, for Russia, something's happened this year, Ken, that and I think it speaks to the level of competition in our league this year, but they're awfully close to. We had a streak going for 5 years of league championships, and that's in jeopardy this year, isn't it?
It sure is, Craig. You know, Coach Borchers and his Raiders, Craig, they've been playing everybody tough. They've got 4 league losses this year, Craig, by I think a total of 18 points, which is just shows you the balance in the Shelby County League this year from top to bottom. And, you know, Anna, Craig, they've been able to go 8-0. They've won a couple close league games against Fort Loramie, against Russia. I'm sure they're going to be tested a couple more times throughout the season here, Craig. But, yeah, the Anna Rockets got a really good team, Craig, sitting at 13-0 overall, and definitely the team to beat in the Shelby County League.
And if you look at those standings right now, you look at the Bakkens Trojans, they're all the way down there in 5th place. Of course, they have a big game against Russia coming up on Friday night. There's a team that started out the season 0-5, and since then they've actually been 8-2, so playing very well down there in the number 5th spot.
Absolutely, Craig. If you remember, a couple weeks ago I said the Bakkens Trojans were going to reel off 6 straight wins. Well, I missed it by a little bit. They went 5-1 during that stretch, but playing very good basketball right now. And so, yeah, that'll be a great game, as will the Fort Loramie at Jackson Center game on Friday night as well.
Yeah, a lot of good teams there. Anna Rockets, new state poll came out this week. They moved up to number 3, so we saw last night a very tough team. They look like they're going to continue just to play well here the rest of the season. They're going to be an awfully tough team to beat, and they've got 5 starters there, you know, that are very good. And again, we saw that last night.
Yes, we did, Craig. And you know, they're deep, they're long, they're athletic, they're fast, and you know, they really get after it on the defensive end. I thought Russia did a great job of controlling the tempo of the game. You know, they held Anna into the 50s, which when you look at Anna's scores, you know, they've been up in the 90s and in the 80s quite often. So, you know, Russia did a great job. They had a great game plan. They stuck to it. I thought they played very well. It just came down to, you know, executing and finishing a couple shots, and, you know, it just didn't happen for Coach Borchers and the Raiders last night. They had nothing to be ashamed of. They played a very good basketball game.
We'll talk more about the boys here a little bit later, but for now, let's change gears, talk a little girls, and for that, we're going to go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns. Guys, good morning. Talking a little boys basketball, but, you know, those girls, they're just a week ahead of the boys and already starting to think about maybe some tournament and how those league standings are going to shape up in time for the tournament draw coming up here very shortly.
Yeah, Craig. Well, the matchup we were looking forward to this weekend is actually coming this weekend. Flying to the Hoop is still extended, guys. Minster's playing Carroll this Saturday. Just broke yesterday that Minster's taking down a trip to Carroll, Flying to the Hoop. I was actually at Flying to the Hoop Monday. Got to see LaMelo Ball. Got to see his dad, LeVar, and LeAngelo walked in along with his wife. LeVar is that crazy guy that was going on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith saying he could beat Michael Jordan in a game on one-on-one, even though he only averaged 2.2 points a game at college. Well, hey, LeVar, I averaged 2.2 points a game as a sophomore on JV, so maybe I could take down Michael Jordan too. I don't know. But anyway, it should be a very good matchup between Minster and Carroll Saturday. Carroll only has one senior on their team, and I know a close friend of mine has talked to Eric Horseman this weekend, and Carroll's going to probably get another opportunity to play at Flying to the Hoop in 2020, and he suggested that the Fort Laramie Redskins and Carlos Siegel's team should get a chance to go down and play there next year since Laramie isn't losing anyone. That would be a very good matchup, but we got a great matchup Saturday with Minster Carroll. Don't know a whole lot about Carroll, so I can't make a pregame pick, but if you want to watch some premier girls basketball, Carroll Division II, Minster Division IV, go to that game.
That Carroll-Minster game, it was a big hit at Flying to the Hoop. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go this year. I had basketball practice. I had homecoming. I was even on court. I unfortunately lost, didn't get King, but my classmate Gavin George got him, so congrats to him. But I had homecoming practices. I couldn't make it down, but I'm glad you got to make it down to that game. And, yeah, Carroll and Minster is supposed to be a great game at Flying to the Hoop, but I'm glad that they get to reschedule that game and get to battle it out.
Yeah, and tournaments starting to really come into people's minds here. I talked to actually Andy Timmerman the other night. He said the voting portal's opening up here. So teams are starting to get an idea of what's coming on here. So Rushie's got a big game tomorrow night. They just found out some unfortunate news the other day that they lost sophomore Caitlin Monin for the season to a torn ACL. You're going to have to see some people step up in her absence. I think people like Katie Hewing would have to. Ella Haney, who's spent some time on JV, will come up and play some time here for Rushie. We know Rushie will probably be the number 2 seed in that sectional. Xenia Legacy Christian, they are in that sectional this year, so that will be very interesting where they fall. They have a very talented team from what I've heard. They've been playing down at the Troy sectional all these years. They used to be formerly known as Xenia Christian, and there'll be other seats fall there behind them, but Laramie is the unanimous number 1. They're the state number 1. No one's going to overtop them on that, so it'll be very interesting to see how things fold here. Can only assume that Rushie will go away from Laramie, and it's kind of a battle in our sectional. I mean, there's some teams that are down. There's some teams that are kind of in the middle of the Pac 500, so it's not going to be a breeze for Rushie. But I think that they'll still get out of the sectional, but then the district, I don't know what will happen, but they'll definitely be the 2 seed, like Kobe said. Yeah, and if you look at the MAC, if we go back to the MAC standings here, you see Versailles and Minster. I believe they play next week. So that should be the MAC determiner here, even though Versailles has got the 6-0 record. And I think Minster will be the favorite in that game. It's on their home floor. If you remember that game last year, it was all filled jam-packed there. You look at some surprises, too. St. Henry's sitting at a solid 10-5. They showed some rapid improvement. New Bremen girls, they're 11-4. I've called 3 of their games this year. They've got an arsenal of good and young veteran players there. Coach Burden's doing a fantastic job. A bit of a surprise there is Fort Recovery 6-8. I think their senior leadership that they lost last year from girls like Kyle Wendell, Whitney Will is really hurting them. Just a lot on the shoulders of players like Val Molenkamp and Olivia Patch there. And they're really struggling at a 6-8 record. They made the district finals last year and really challenged the state champions, Minster, to a good game. Not a lot of people talked about that. But Fort Recovery could be a very dangerous team come tournament time, sitting at 6-8.
Just looking ahead at tournament, kind of all these teams are in that big super sectional that they have at the Walpock gym. All these teams are kind of, as you look at their record, 500 sitting right around there, and a lot of these teams are middle of the pack. So it'll be a battle to get out of that sectional, but you'll probably see Minster get out of there easily. And also to piggyback on the Versailles-Minster game, last year Versailles handled Minster really well. As in Versailles' gym was a packed house, and I think Versailles ended up winning by 15 or something like that, maybe even 20. But going back to Minster and just the athleticism that Minster has, I think Minster's going to get a little revenge last year and put Versailles in the ground and walk away pretty easy.
And that's all we got.
All right, guys, thanks for that. And you know, Ken, that is going to be a big game. I believe that's on Tuesday. I thought it was maybe the 29th at Versailles. Minster game, as they mentioned last year, at Versailles. Very good game this time at Minster. And Minster maybe a little bit better team than they were last year. I don't know. Who you picking in that one?
I got Minster, Craig. I think, you know, the fact that it's at Minster and, you know, Versailles got a great team this year. They're very well coached. They're super athletic. But you know, Versailles won a lot of close games this year, Craig. So they've been tested, they've been challenged, even in the MAC. But you know, I think Minster is just going to be a little bit too strong for Versailles this year.
All right, and I'm going to take you back to the boys for just 1 second. You know, we were talking about Friday night coming up. Of course, Saturday's the big rivalry game between the Russia Raiders and the Versailles Tigers. Always a fun one. This year, it's over in Versailles. What are you expecting in that game?
Well, Craig, I'm expecting a fun atmosphere, two great communities going at it, and you know, I expect a very good game. I think Versailles has done a really good job of improving this year. Coach Schwank over there, you know, he lost a lot of graduating seniors from last year, kind of working with a different clientele of players this year. And, you know, they're playing very well together as a team. They almost beat St. Henry last weekend. So I think it's going to be a great game. You know, Russia, Versailles, whenever they get together, throw out the records and, you know, throw the ball up because it's going to be a lot of fun. And Saturday night will be the same.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. I know you'll be there, but I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be way down south, actually down in Key West, enjoying a little bit of a rest and relaxation. But I'm going to be tuning into Scott Ward at the Tiger WTGR 97.5 FM because I know he's going to be broadcasting that game online. I'll be tuned in, listening to that one. Looking forward to a good game as well.
Absolutely, Craig. And if for some reason you can't pick it up, let me know, and I'll text you some updates.
That sounds good. All right, well, let's take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more boys and girls basketball, with, of course, with Sidney Daily News sports editor Bryant Billing.
In the motherland, you were born with heart, raised on pride. This vinegar runs through your bloodline. Oh, 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 loaded, bruised, and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name. Skies run deep within this blue. Folks used to advise by foolish views. Religious divide among the men create civil war on my family land. Oh, 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 bloody, bruised, and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. And Ken, I'm really looking forward to our next interview. He was actually on this show a year ago when he took over as the sports editor for the Sidney Daily News back in August of 2017. We welcome to the program now Bryant Billing. Bryant, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. Enjoying it. Thanks so much for having me again. Looking forward to talking some hoops tonight.
Well, listen, you know, we were talking at the beginning of the show that how sometimes the basketball season gets a little long. I know this is a busy time of year for you, but when I talked to you back, and I believe it was late November, you told me this was your favorite time of the year. So we're 2 months into it now, Bryant. Are you still feeling that way?
Oh, absolutely. There is nothing better on a cold winter day in Ohio than being able to get out and go to a gym and warm up and watch some great high school hoops. It's you know, I know I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but basketball really is I think my favorite sport of all. It's just really fun to watch. I really get into it. I really enjoy watching the competition between the teams, and it's just such a great fun ride every year from late November all the way up through March when teams make their big, deep tournament run. So, yeah, still my favorite time of the year, and I'm loving it this year. We're blessed again. It's been a great year for not only the Shelby County League, but also our other area teams, and it should be fun watching a lot of these guys make deep tournament runs again this year.
Well, speaking of being blessed, you're very fortunate over there to be covering what I consider one of the premier players in Ohio, and that is Andre Gordon. Of course, you almost didn't get to cover him because he was over at Huntington Prep last summer. Was fortunate enough for us that he came back to this area, and I'd like to know, I know you've been covering, have you had a chance to talk to him much, and what's he like to cover as an athlete?
Oh, yeah, I talk to him quite often. He is a tremendous, tremendous guy. He really, really is. He's going to be a great man when he grows up here, and he's just a tremendous player, too, all the way around. A 5'2" player, as Coach John Willoughby likes to call him. And it has been a really, really neat story to cover him coming back home here to Sidney to be able to finish up his prep career and play with his high school guys. And they've been putting together a really special season so far this year. And I know last year after they lost in the sectional finals at Springfield, he said after that game that their big goal was getting to that point and winning and getting out to the districts this year. So it should be fun to watch them try to reach that goal here this year. And down the stretch, they've got a really tough schedule, so it should be a good opportunity for them to prep to try to make that tournament run, starting with Trotwood Madison on Friday. So, yeah, he's just a fantastic guy all the way around and a tremendous player. And seeing those dunks never gets old. He burns up social media with them, and we've seen some 360 dunks a couple of times this year, and he just had a big one late in the game this past Tuesday against Stebbins that tore up the internet too. So it's really, really fun.
Brian, good morning to you. Ken Francis here. Thanks for getting up and being our guest here this morning. Hey, I got to ask
Happy to.
You know, I got to admit, I love watching the Andre Gordon dunks on social media myself. So if you're posting them or if Dre's posting them, whoever it is, keep doing it because they're fun to watch. Hey,
well, be sure to do. I love it.
We're over halfway through, about 2/3 of the way through the Shelby County League this year. I know you cover a lot of the games on the boys' side, the girls' side. The boys' side exceptionally balanced this year. You know, I realize Anna's on 8-0 in the league, but they've been tested by Lormy, they've been tested by Russia, and there's just no easy games on the schedule this year. So as you look at these teams in both the boys and girls' side, who do you like right now for your player of the year on the boys' side and the girls' side in the Shelby County Athletic League?
Well, on the girls' side, I think for both boys and girls, it's sort of it's a bit of a toss-up, but I think you have to look at the two teams that are at the top of the standings, Fort Laramie and Anna, and that they're so far and above what everyone else has been doing this year that you got to look at some of their best players, and they're both really, really balanced in terms of their leading scorers. And looking at Fort Laramie, Fort Laramie girls, for balance, Coach Carla Siga has been really blessed with Ava Schultes and Dana Rose coming on here late this year, and she just has, whoever of the 10 girls she puts out on the floor, she's got contributors all the way around. But I guess if you have to pick one, I would probably lean towards Marissa Meyring. It seems like she's been the most consistent rock. She's up there and scoring and, does a lot of good things on the defensive end of the ball, too, and rebounding-wise. So I'd lean towards her. I certainly think, looking at everybody else, Ella Dosick from Anna has to be in that conversation, too, and Jenna Cordonier and Larissa Poling from Russia got to be up there, too. But I would probably lean towards Marissa Meyring for girls. And then for boys, again, same thing with the Anna boys being so high up there. I think you got to look at one of their guys, and I would probably, it's tough because Riley Hulskamp, guard, he's great. He's a great defender. He scores a lot. Bart Bixler, the same thing. And then Griffin Dosek is a tremendous guy and a tremendous rebounder. I would probably think I'd probably lean towards him. Like most coaches, the seniors get more weight when it comes to that sort of voting. So this being Griffin's last go-around and him, really having to carry the load for them inside would probably get my vote. But, again, you've got other guys, guys that are going to be first team that certainly should deserve consideration, too, like your own Daniel Currens from Russia. And then, some other great players, too, that are going to be first-teamers like Trent Flatfoot from Jackson Center. So I guess if I had to cast my votes right now, I'd probably go Marissa Meyering for the girls and Griffin Dosek for the boys.
Well, listen, Bryant, just this week, the Sidney Daily News made a big announcement that they're going to start doing their off day on Monday now instead of Tuesday. It's been Tuesday for many years. So what's this change for you and your schedule? And I assume the Friday night games now we'll typically read about in Tuesday's paper instead of Monday's paper. Is that correct?
Yes, that's one of the unfortunate byproducts of switching those papers from Monday to Tuesdays. The company had to do that because they said that advertising is better if we're publishing 5 consecutive days of the week, and they ran into a lot of logistical problems with all the governmental Monday holidays like Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Columbus Day, and of the government holidays that fall on Mondays. So that's why they made the switch. Unfortunately, yeah, that will be a day later that everybody will be getting their papers and being able to read about those Friday and Saturday games. I'll miss that, but I do try to get everything online ASAP. So typically, the people that can access our website will be able to, on Saturdays, be able to see the stuff from Friday, and then on Sundays, be able to see the stuff from Saturday. So that is my goal, to especially keep that up here now and get everything online as soon as possible now that we've got this change.
Bryant, let's shift gears just a little bit. I know you love basketball. We love basketball here too. But, us folks over here in Russia, we love our baseball as well. And
yeah.
They big news from coming out of some reports of Ohio are stating that the state championships are going to move away from Columbus up to Akron. The OHSAA has not announced this yet. But, I've read it on Twitter. I've read it on other social media sites. Have you heard anything about this? And if so, what is your opinion on it?
Yeah, I've seen some of that similar stuff, too. And my understanding is the OHSAA is trying to work with the Clippers, and they're working with their AAA league and trying to work things out there. But that is one thing I heard really early on once they announced that they were pushing the state baseball tournament back a week, is it's going to be tough for the Clippers to work with the league and try to get that schedule adjusted so that Huntington Park would be open. And I'd heard that Akron site mentioned as a place to have the state tournament. And I know from us, from where we're at, specifically being in Southwest Ohio, that drive to Akron is not a lot of fun. But if they can't get it together, I don't really think they have much more of an option. Ohio State's there, but with the state track going, well, I guess the state track wouldn't be going on now that they're moving it, but still, it's still not as quite as big of a facility as Akron looks to be from what I've seen online. So I guess we'll have to get used to it. And hey, it's not a bad drive. I've been up to Akron a couple of times for state softball before, and where they have that at a Firestone Stadium is really nice. So I'm sure nobody will mind the drive once we get to that point. If we get to see some local teams up there in Columbus or in the state baseball tournament in Akron, it'll be a fun trip.
Yep, that'll be a good problem to have, Bryant. I can tell you that right now.
Yes, it would.
If we have to drive up to Akron to watch us play, that'll be a good problem. So we'll do it.
Yes. Yep. And, hey, it's more mileage for me, too, so it's all good in my book.
Hey, Bryant, one more question before we let you go. But, listen, I'm always trying to figure out ways to make things better for the media. I know you're a full-time media guy. I like to pretend that I'm a media guy. But, one thing I enjoy here these last couple years is, one little perk, I guess you say, is these rosters that they hand out at the door. And when you're taking pictures, it's kind of handy to have a listing of all the players and their numbers. It's just something that I don't remember 10 years ago that I really enjoy now. But I wanted to ask you if you could make one improvement. You're at all these games, you watch all these players, you're at all these gyms. If you could get one improvement from the local schools here, you got anything in mind? What would it be?
Well, it's funny. I was talking to Dr. Weichel, another one of your frequent guests from Fort Laramie, about this just earlier this year. We were down at Covington for their sectional volleyball tournament because they've now started to host those. And at Covington, they had the public Wi-Fi put up, the information up on a sign on both sides of that gymnasium. And Fort Laramie actually added that a couple of months later to their gym. So I'm big on the Wi-Fi, the easy access for the Wi-Fi. I need that to file the stories, and I think that's something that not only media people like, but the general public themselves can like, so they can save some data. So that's one thing I love, and I'm so glad that Fort Loramie's done that. And if every school could do that, and you see those signs coming into the gym for the Wi-Fi information, that would definitely make me a happy camper.
Well, we got big news at Russia, Brian. Actually, I just found out here a couple weeks ago that Russia was given a rather large grant to get a very nice Wi-Fi system set up in our gymnasium.
Oh, cool.
And I know we're kind of lacking maybe in that department. I've heard a few rumblings in the past, but yeah, next year I think we're all set up. Is that correct?
Yep, I heard the same thing. So
that is cool.
Hopefully next year
cool.
when you come into Clare C. Nouveau Gymnasium, we got a super fast Wi-Fi for you.
That sounds good. That sounds good. And I love coming to that gym. That gym is so great, and the atmosphere in there when that place is packed is really second to none.
Well, we appreciate that. We always like having you over at Russia, and appreciate you getting up early this morning. I know you're a busy man, so
yes.
Get back on it. Get back on the Sidney Daily News there. Get some good articles. Get some good press releases there, and we appreciate you being on our show with us tonight.
Absolutely. Happy to be on, and thanks you guys so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, Bryant. All right. That was the sports editor of the Sidney Daily News, Bryant Billing. Fun having him on the show, and we should make that a yearly thing, Ken.
Yep,
It's
good guy. A
good
lot of fun to talk to him, and always nice to share media stories with somebody else.
All right. Well, let's go back to the sound room. And I know TK is as busy as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. You ever hear that one, Ken?
No, I never heard of that one.
I know he's trying to do it all back there. That's because Heavy D decided to take a sick day, I think, or a vacation day or whatever. How's it going, TK?
I'm trying to do my best. It's like the good old days. I remember when I ran this for maybe a year. I ran this a couple times by myself, and it's tough. I need a Heavy D. All I got's the Adam Wainwright bobblehead right here, and he's not helping at all. But he's smiling, so what the heck?
We're a lot more sophisticated than we were back in the day.
There's a lot more buttons and knobs back here now, TK.
There are a lot more.
Well, do you have time to give us your SCA Athlete of the Week? We always look forward to that.
Yeah, I do, and maybe it's a former athlete and now a helper of athletes. As we know, the weekend was kind of screwed up with some weather and not as many games to choose from, but we didn't talk about it before during the girls' basketball, but we have to give a shout out to one of our favorite coaches and one of your favorite classmates, Craig, to Carla Siegel. Got her 400th victory the other night against Houston. So she's not an athlete right now, but she's a helper of athletes. She's a maker of great young women or girls into young women and great athletes as well. So a shout out again to her. Gave her a lot of accolades when she was on the show, so won't go into all that, but another milestone and a great career as a coach and a former of athletes and stars of the week. So shout out to Carla and congratulations there on a great career and everything you've done for all the student athletes that you've had through your program over the years.
That's a great choice there, TK.
Yeah, nice salute. And they were one of the few schools that actually played. I know all those other games got snowed out. They must have wanted to get that recognition at home, I'm thinking.
Nothing wrong with that. She very much deserves it. So.
All right, great stuff, TK. And I know the Fish Report mailbag, that's going to have to wait another week until Heavy D gets back.
He'll have so many mail envelopes to look at, he won't know which one to choose next
week. They're stacking up back here.
All right, TK, thanks for that again. And with that, that's going to wrap up our show. We do want to say special thanks to our guest, Bryant Billing, for coming on the show. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a good day, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report.